Hello and welcome to episode 119, one short of 120 episode of PubShorts, and it is titled Pressure. And the reason why it is chose as in the title is Pressure will be explained by Tony. My name is Dr. KK. I'm the Innovation Officer in Nago. And hi, Tony.
Good. I'm glad your maths is working well this morning. That 119 is one less than 120. Welcome, everyone. This is episode 119, which is one less than 120 of Pub Shorts. And I'm Tony O'Rourke, VP for Partnerships here in Nago. I'll be serious now. And welcome to Pub Shorts, which is a regular, it's a conversation which KK and I have around stories affecting the world of academic research and academic publishing. And we like to give each episode a theme, a music theme, and ideally name it after a song. And this particular episode is named after the Muse song Pressure. The theme of the song Pressure is around that urgency, that urgent feel. The song's tense, urgent feel matches a week where research and researchers face publish or perish stress, continue to face it. They're overloaded peer review and AI tools that promise help, but also adds to the weight of expectations. So yes, a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, if Rolling Stone or somebody is looking for writers who write blurbs about songs, they should totally get in touch with you, Tony. I mean, there's no way.
Exactly, I do such a good job.
Yes. Okay, talking about good jobs, there's somebody who's doing a good job in terms of detecting whether peer reviews are happening well. And so let me share my screen. So this first one is an archive preprint titled Review Guard, Enhancing Deficient Peer Review Detection via LLM-driven data augmentation. Just like any other computer science-related peer review research, this is quite a mouthful. But we are talking about something called Review Guard, and it is designed to find bad peer reviews in scientific papers. The problem is that there are too many papers, and the AI-related peer reviews making it hard to spot bad reviews. So Review Guard uses AI to help, and it looks at papers and their reviews, and it figures out which reviews are deficient. So the researchers, as part of the study, trained AI models on lots of review data or information and reviewed papers, and they even made fake reviews to help train AIs better. And the study found that bad reviews are shorter and less complex, not jaw-dropping conclusions. They also tend to be more negative, whereas AI-written reviews are generally the opposite, longer, verbose, I suppose, and positive. And AI written reviews are much more frequent than they used to be, and it's a big concern in the context of academic honesty and integrity. So that's one thing. And the review guard system showed that it could get better at spotting bad reviews, especially when using fake data. So overall, a system to detect, let's say, potentially low quality reviews potentially generated by AI. Do you think, Tony, this is relevant in the context of peer review and peer review integrity?
The thing I'm struggling with is where they're getting the data from. I mean, where are they getting the review reports themselves? Because very often the review reports aren't published. So how do they know how good or how bad the review is? They can only look at the
go on.
the paper itself.
Yeah, so the methodology, I'll quickly scan the methodology. So this is from ICLR. So it is from Computer Science and Natural Language Research in itself. So all peer review related research are primarily from conference abstracts.
Okay, and it's more open peer review anyway.
Yeah. So that's there. I mean, regardless, it's a sort of like a framework for potentially identifying peer review related, let's say, quality issues in other fields as well.
Got it. Yeah.
So interesting research, and I basically agree with the premise that AI can be used to detect potentially AI reviews itself, but at the same time, we need, I guess, a system that takes care of multiple fields, multiple article types, and multiple sort of variables that might affect it. So this is a start. So that's where I am right now, and I'm happy with it. So
and also, look, the reality is, and we've spoken about this before, that AI peer review, if it's not being used now, it's going to be a reality at some point in the next couple of years.
Right.
And it's not going to replace human peer review. It's going to be enhancing peer review. It's going to be supporting human peer review. One of the things that we want to be sure is that the reviews are impartial, they're fair, they're good, they're accurate, they're honest.
Right.
In the same way that we hope a human peer review report will be.
Yeah.
So I suppose overall, not specifically around this paper, I welcome criticism and commentary around the quality of peer review that's produced by AI, because it only can make it better.
Right. All right, so we are moving on to another story from Nature. Pressure to publish is rising as research time shrinks, finds survey of scientists. So it's a survey conducted by Elsevier, which found that researchers feel more pressure to publish than ever. At the same time, they have less time and fewer resources to research because of funding-related cuts. And this is happening globally, but is especially felt in countries with low research funding. And many researchers, Tony, are considering moving to other countries for better career opportunities. So this is a representative infographic. The use of AI in research is also increasing. So technically, it should benefit, but at the same time, because of the pressure to publish more, AI is actually causing this to worsen, the publish or perish culture to worsen. So that's sort of like the overarching summary. The main thing that I want to talk about is, unless the baseline system changes, no matter how much intervention, innovation, artificial intelligence can be put to sort of facilitate, the actual problem will continue to worsen, because AI can be used to accelerate publication and decrease quality, which is what
Yeah.
this entire paper is about. So, what are your thoughts on it? I mean, primarily on the fact that the system needs to change, and that's probably never going to happen, and also much longer timelines.
I think you were saying it's never going to happen. It kind of has to happen at some point. It's got to a point where a researcher today cannot possibly keep up to date with all the literature that's being made available, and also, have the time to discern or distinguish whether something is good or bad research, whether the paper's been written by a paper mill or not, for example. So there has to be a change in the way researchers are being monetized, maybe, or being rewarded, and it can't just be about the published, or you'll no longer have a career. There has to be other ways of doing it. I know in the UK we moved away, not completely, but we did move away partially, looking more towards research impact rather than research, and that I think is important. This is how the research changes lives rather than the simple fact that we've published something.
Right. And I have a different slice. This from Elsevier, the same thing. It's a press release. So from here, I picked up that obviously 3,000 researchers were surveyed, and only less than half of researchers have enough time to do research. So that's something that we need to work on, I suppose.
Yeah.
And researchers see AI as transformative, as mentioned earlier. And there are significant regional differences in how researchers adopt AI, and funding is also a concern. We again talked about it at length, and collaboration is increasing. So I would argue that research is sort of becoming more thinly spread across more researchers at the same time. Each researcher is struggling to sort of find time to do research.
Yeah.
Well, this is an interesting study. Thanks for Elsevier to do such studies. I mean, all these publishers who do such researcher surveys are fascinating, from at least from a learning point of view, for me to understand what are the problems and how we can potentially solve some of these problems by making smart innovations which are bespoke for the needs for whatever publisher or a
Yeah,
researcher
yeah.
is doing.
Anything that can help the researcher,
Yeah.
give them more time to do this research it's got to be a good thing. But just to ensure that research is accurate, it's honest,
Yeah.
and it's communicated as well as it can be.
Right. Moving on to another preprint. This is mostly peer review related. So this one is titled "Bad Scientists Can Research Agent Write Convincing but Unsound Papers That Fool LLM Reviewers." So it discusses the risk of AI generated research by being reviewed by an AI without human oversight. And this research actually introduces a framework. I'll open the main article itself. It introduces a framework called Bad Scientist to test if AI can create fake research that fools AI reviewers. So this is sort of
Wow.
what was tested. So you can argue whether such research is required, but the AI uses tricks to make papers look good without doing real experiments. And the system, so this is a sort of representative graphic. It uses they made a system to check papers formally with math to back it up, and fake papers can get accepted a lot. Up to 77% of fake papers with fake math, with fake data, can pass through systems. So that's a concern. As if at all somebody is planning or building an AI system to sort of help peer review, it has to be able to pick up some of these things. So this is why they did the study, and I'm glad that they did, because we are also
Abuse the system is got to be encouraged. So having an AI that will detect bad reviews or fake reviews is great.
Yeah. And one thing I must point out here. So, a big problem detected in the study was concern acceptance conflict. So, what does that mean? When you have a decision which is contradicting the actual findings. If a peer review report says that the paper is not adequate, but the eventual decision eventually is that it is accepted, and despite issues, even AI failed to sort of correct this problem. So that's another issue. So it has to match. Basically, the meta review has to match the review itself, and the review has to adequately detect whether the paper is actually a real paper or not. So lots of like, I guess, cogs in the system that could fail, and
Yeah.
the comprehensive system that takes.
There's all sorts of points where it
Yeah.
might fail. How do you avoid bias, for example?
Right. So another interesting research, and that's why we talk about such articles. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we have done med. We probably have done two bio, if I and lots of
And
archives.
it's from two authors that we've spoken about in the previous episode of PubShorts. We talked about Rene Aquarius and Dr. Bishop.
Yes. And so this is titled Gaming the Peer Review System. A sophisticated review mill in medicine highlights the need to ensure reviewer integrity. So we are talking about review mills, which obviously are, I guess, establishments which churn out reviews without the actual integrity aspect address. I mean, with obviously foregoing all the integrity related aspects. So the researchers are part of this. They suggest citations to the author so that they can squeak their citations in to get benefits from them being cited. And what the study was about is a particular review mill in gynecologic oncology, and they identified many review reports with similar generic text, and these reports also suggested citing papers by the reviewers of their colleagues, and authors often accepted these citation suggestions. Some reviewers in the mill wrote many reviews and even acted as editors. So it's sort of like I don't know, it's endogamy in a different way, I guess. But whatever it is, another example of peer review integrity concerns, research integrity concerns as well. So we need to find ways to detect even review mill origin reviews, like how paper mill
Yeah.
origin papers need to be detected as well.
And that's got to be one of the key roles of the publisher, isn't it? To make sure that the reviews are that there is integrity in the review. It's written after thought consideration, and it's not just been AI generated.
Yeah, and I've highlighted a passage. So approximately 195, or actually 195 review mill reports from 170 articles were identified. And they featured verbatim or highly similar boilerplate text, with 186 reports suggesting citations to works by co-authored co-authored by reviewers or other mill members, and authors of 142 articles complying with these suggestions. That's a lot. I mean, these numbers might seem small, but this is what we have found, and you can expect tens or hundreds of times such.
Yeah, and this is
False.
just in one small discipline. Well,
Yeah.
small but very, very important discipline.
Right. So another concern that needs to be potentially addressed by possibly automation. I don't know. Let's see. So I think we already discussed this. So let me, maybe I clicked the wrong article. Yeah, this is the right one. So the next story is titled AI in peer review: Can artificial intelligence be an ally in reducing gender and geographical gaps in peer review? A randomized trial. So this one, wait, let me just, they tested out GPT-4o, a large language model, to see if it could find experts for peer review. This is again a fascinating. I've never thought of using Chat GPT or GPT to find reviewers. And the researchers did two runs, Tony. One without telling the AI about diversity, inclusivity, etc., and one run after explaining it. So when DEI was not mentioned, the GPT-4o's suggestions mostly picked 68%. I mean, that 68% of men were picked as reviewers, and people from high income in countries were picked as at 95% frequency. But when DEI information was provided within the prompt, more gender balanced results. 51% were women, and more people from obviously low income countries. So the from a point of view, even just by adding this DI clause or a GI sentence in a prompt can completely change the way that a chat GPT or a large language model can recommend reviewers. And I did not know this, and I think it's a valid way to sort of find reviewers, especially with if you want to target a particular, let's say, specialty or a particular geographic area. And one of the cool things that the researchers found, is that the academic output, like publications, citations, and H-index, was pretty much the same across both these groups. So regardless, even if you add the DEI clause, the reviewer quality is actually not diminishing. It is a different slice of the same high quality reviewers, at least as per the metrics that you're citing. So are you surprised that people are using ChatGPT to at least hypothetically test reviewers and finding out that DEI clauses can improve
I don't think it's hypothetical at all. I think publishers have been using ChatGPT for some time now to identify reviewers.
well, I
It doesn't
never.
surprise me at all. And
Yeah.
it's one of the biggest problems that we've said as many times that publishers face at the moment, particularly journal publishers, is the inability to find and keep reviewers. So the need to broaden that pool is just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. More submissions come through, more reviewers are required, and they have rules around the number of times they can reach, contact a reviewer to make a request to do a review. So it's only going to increase. So yes, so to answer your question, no, I'm not surprised at all. I think we're going to see more and more of this.
Right. And the final story that we have is another archive preprint, another study on peer review. So this one is regarding prompt injection peer review. So it's titled "Give a Positive Review Only: An Early Investigation into In-Paper Prompt Injection Attacks and Defenses of AI Reviewers." So the main thing, I mean, I guess Tony, we are all familiar with prompt injection. Basically, texts or sentences or instructions within an, let's say, document to guide or to prompt the LLM that might be reviewing the paper to give only positive reviews. So this is the classical prompt injection. We are talking in the context of peer review, obviously, and these prompts may not be visible to the naked eye because it might be in small fonts or white fonts or hidden in some way, right? So these are injections of instructions which there should not be there to influence the outcome of an LLM related workflow. So we are aware of static prompts, but this is the first sort of paper where I was aware of dynamic prompts, which basically it keeps on changing according to, if suppose let's say the initial prompt says give me a positive review only, and the review is not gotten, the positive review is not received as in response, then it'll change its approach and give another sort of modified instructions, and eventually until it sort of gets the targeted positive response, it'll change itself. And that is what a dynamic prompt injection attack is, and people are already doing it, Tony. So experiments on GPT-5, DeepSeek Chat, and Gemini 2.5 Pro show that these attacks are effective, and attacks are robust regardless of where they are placed in the paper. Attacks also works across different paper lengths and human ratings, and the iterative attacks or the dynamic attack is transferable between different AI models as well. And they also tested a defense mechanism, and which significantly reduced the attack success. However, an adaptive attack was still able to partially bypass this defense. Adaptive would mean iterative. So this is iterative on the right hand side and the static attack on the left hand side. Just sort of again expands the world of potential, I guess, failure points in an automated AI based peer review system. And it's wonderful to know that there could be such problems, and all AI systems should be made with the awareness that there are things that could go wrong, and checks need to be put in place so that these are detected. So your thoughts?
The only thought that ran through my mind is how in the last 12 months, if you'd asked me 12 months ago, let's talk about prompt injections, I wouldn't have a clue what you were talking about. And it's now become almost like an everyday topic in terms of, prompt engineering. I think we're going to see so much more effort being introduced by universities, for example, in terms of teaching prompt engineering to students and to researchers in order to be able to make use of these tools more effectively. But, again, I applaud anything that can identify possible gamification. You want review research to be as honest and as open as possible, and clearly, fake reviews or false reviews or inaccurate reviews or engineered reviews only undermine that.
Right. And in your conversations with publishers or researchers or institutions, have you come across prompt injection being a factor in any automations that we might be building for them?
Absolutely. I mean, we have a project coming up with an organization where we've custom built a tool which will use prompts to help them identify, any issues for incoming content. Because there's the fixed static rules, a rules-based product. didn't cover all the bases that were required.
Right.
At least in that particular use case. It does for the majority of use cases, but not in that particular one. It was more extensive prompt required. So no, I think we're going to see a lot more of it. Certainly,
Right.
and we certainly there's a greater understanding and awareness by publishers of how prompts can be used effectively to assist them in their publishing workflows.
Right. And if suppose you're interested in working with us in terms of automating some of your workflows, if you're a publisher, please get in touch with either me or Tony, and we would have a conversation with you and see how we can adapt our technologies to your needs.
And I should add, and just for the sake of full disclosure, we are. I've talked about Inago Reports, which is our checking tool. We've been talking about automated peer review, as well as KK, as you know, we're developing tools that will support publishers and any sort of peer review process in terms of creating and generating review reports using AI assistance.
Right. All right, moving on to quick hits. We have 4, Tony. The first one, let me accept cookie. So it's from EMBO. Publishers join the Review Commons peer review process. This is a feature.
EMBO.
Yeah, so EMBO is that how you say it? So this the aim behind this is to create a commons for journal agnostic preprint peer review, enhancing efficiency for authors and reviewers by establishing a distributed system that leverages the collective reviewer pools of participating journals and reduces redundant review cycles. So in a nutshell, if you're thinking about what this is, you can use an existing peer review which might have been a failure for a particular journal and pass on the same peer review for the next journal and may not need to duplicate the review. So it's a review commons process. It's efficiency, and it's a good step, and it's especially for preprints.
Are they doing it for their own journals, or is it an industry-wide initiative?
So many publishers have joined, is what I understand. Let me just confirm. I don't know which.
Oh no, it's an industry-wide initiative. So eLife, Genetics, G3, Cell Search, EMBO are creating this review commons. Yes, okay.
All right. Now, moving on to the next one, sentiment analysis in Altmetric, the proof of concept by Altmetric. That's the title of the original research article. So the team have developed a new AI framework for sentiment analysis of research attention on social media, specifically X, formerly Twitter. Traditional methods relied on citation counts, missing the qualitative aspects of how research is discussed. And Altmetrics helps, but mostly based on quantity, not sentiment. So this AI approach analyzes the tone and intent behind mentions using a 7-level sentiment scale, and they tested it against machine learning model and found LLM-based systems performed better with the F1 scores of 0.577 compared to 0.419, which basically means that it's a much better system than the machine learning model. So basically, you're using AI to, I would say, scrape Twitter or X to find the sentiment behind the commentary for a research article, which would be great. I mean, eventually the impact of the article should ideally be measured on this, and not. I mean,
it is one of the measures. Absolutely,
right.
Absolutely.
So excellent research by the Frontiers team, and Frontiers is part of this, as far as I understand. Let me just confirm this. Frontiers in Research, Metrics, and Analytics, a journal by Frontiers. Okay, anyway.
The research hasn't come from Frontier. The research has come from Digital Science and from Coventry University and from University of Wolverhampton. So it's a paper that's published in Frontiers. In the Frontiers journal.
All right. And second last one, attention authors updated practice for review articles and position papers in archive CS category. So this is one of 2 articles which are basically updates from archive. So this, first of all, it brings to the attention of authors to regarding the practices for review articles, and it's a specific article type. So authors need to provide proof of successful peer review when submitting papers submitted without while submitting papers, and those papers that are submitted without these proofs are likely to be rejected. And why they're making this change is because of the large increase in review and position paper submissions in archive that are generated by artificial intelligence on LLMs, which makes total sense. You need the proof of peer review and not just any sort of position paper. So that's one part of the story, and the other one is a related one from Nature. Preprint site archive is banning computer science reviews. So this is also related. Basically, it's also because of poor quality AI generated content, and archive saw the rejection rate jump from 2.3% in the past to 10% in the past year. So this is related to preprint screening. So because of AI generated, like in quote unquote slop papers being increasingly submitted to preprint servers, the rejection rates are wrong. And you understand how the contradiction of a rejection, why rejection does not make sense in the context of preprint servers, but at the same time we
I was
cannot.
gonna say this when we say rejection, we'd say papers that are withdrawn.
Yeah. I mean, it won't be I don't know, hosted on a preprint server. I mean, which is crazy to think. Preprints are meant to be the place where anything can be hosted, but that also puts the
No,
risk of
it's true, but there's a lot of work going on at the moment by
yeah
preprint organisations in terms of increasing
yeah
the public awareness of how much integrity goes into running these sites.
yeah. I mean, what I was trying to say is that the concept of preprint servers is to let people publish whatever they want to publish, but because of the chances of poor quality research, let's say
Well, if that's what people think preprint services is about, I think then that's a flawed concept. Surely, I mean, if you go back originally, the whole purpose about preprints, if you go back to even to the 1980s, was authors sharing their research with their research community before publication, because they were frustrated about research taking
yeah
1, 2, 3 years to get published. But the key was it was researchers wanting to share good research.
yeah
If it's a question of anyone wanting to publish any old rubbish in a preprint, then the preprint mechanisms are failing. But they're not. It's all about sharing good research, and the vast majority of papers that go onto these preprint services are good, open, honest papers.
Yeah, so all I'm saying is people can game the system because there's no scrutinization.
Oh
like
yeah, now we can absolutely, yeah.
That's what I was trying to point out. So
Okay.
it's from the rejection point of view. Anyway, that brings us to the end of episode 119. One below 120, titled pressure. Because of the pressure of publishing, pressure publish and publish or perish is why we are seeing some of these research integrity crisis, I would say. And if you want to know about all the other potential research integrity, peer review related crisis or AI related topics that we might have talked about in the last 118 episodes, Tony will explain. You probably have to take a notebook and start writing down all the instructions that Tony is about to say.
Well, I'm just going to say, the more I think about it, the more we need to produce an index of all the topics we've talked about in the last year and almost more than a year. This is episode 119. You can see all previous 118 episodes over on our Inago PubShorts playlist.
Mm-hmm.
Just press like if you like it, hopefully, even if you don't. Share with your colleagues, and also send us some suggestions for future topics. But yeah, we really look forward to hearing from you.
Yeah, we do, and we take your viewership and audience or listenership. We do not take it for granted, and we appreciate any feedback. It can be critical as well. Send us our way, and we will do our best to improve our content. But that'll be for another day. Tony, any interesting gigs you're attending in the future?
Well, no, I was planning to attend a gig this weekend, in fact, but the gig got cancelled. As an American guitarist, a jazz guitarist called Bill Frisell, who I really like, and he was playing at a venue not far from here where I live, which is in the west of England. And his gig got cancelled because he's given himself a perforated eardrum. But what I found out about the gig, and I was going to cancel because I thought, well, it's 3 months away, I can't be bothered, was that the venue has changed its format so that the gig is going to be played in the round, where so the audience is going to be sitting surrounding. And I've never been to a gig in the round before, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Was there? I mean, you think that there could have been a rotating stage?
I don't know. I mean, that's the interesting thing. I think it will more likely be a round stage with the musicians of moving around every so often. I'm not sure how it's going to work.
Right, and
but I'm looking forward to it.
And was the drummer to be blamed for the perforated eardrum?
I think, the drummer wasn't the person with the perforated eardrum. It was the guitarist with the perforated eardrum. You often see these perspex screens now at gigs. In front of that's what you've got to look out for drummers.
Yeah, always blame the drummers for everything that goes wrong in the show. That's a lesson.
That's a rule in life. Always blame the drummer.
With that pearl of wisdom, which would not apply to any of your publishing related use cases, we bring this show to an end, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye, Tony. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
See you in the next one.